Okay, welcome to a special first day of October edition of the show. I was feeling kind of depressed this morning, so today I'm gonna make roasted butternut squash soup to maybe make myself feel a bit better. So we're gonna start with a whole butternut squash. I picked this up maybe 5 or 6 months ago. They stay good for a really long time, so I'm just gonna cut off the top and the bottom. I'm not gonna peel it or anything. And then I'm gonna cut it in half. What we're gonna do after we roast it is just scoop out all the good bits from the skin. So start by scooping out all the seeds. This is a really easy recipe, not too labor intensive. Oh yeah. See, let's grab those out of there. And like this. Okay, stick that there. Maybe the other one here. I've preheated my oven to 425 degrees. So what we're gonna do is roast the squash, and then we're gonna roast these apples with them. All right, quick cleanup here. All right, so next we're gonna peel these apples. These are Mcintosh apples. They're pretty tart. This is the best way to peel an apple. Take off the top and the bottom like this, and then just go around like this. It's the most efficient way. The only special thing you need is a multi-purpose peeler. Okay, one. It's just around the top, around the bottom. Peel away. Next, we get rid of these apple skins. Okay, next step. Grab a cookie sheet. Find some parchment paper here. Perfect, about the right size. Flatten her out. I like to fold around the edges. Make it nice, like this, and then flip her over. Oh, perfect fit. Okay, so we'll stick both of these on the sheet. I'm gonna cut the apples in half, like this. Then into quarters. And what we're going to do is just slice out the middles, stick those on here too. So we're going to be roasting these apples as well. Cut out to quarters. Yeah. Got a man down. It's alright, I'll just eat that one. Okay, next step. I'm just gonna cover everything in olive oil. The apples and the butternut squash. Like this. And we'll give it a rub everywhere. Cover it all. Cover the apples. Quickly wash my hands. Then we'll give everything a decent amount of salt. The apples, big pinch, big pinch. A little bit more here. That, as well as some pepper. I would prefer to use fresh cracked, but my grinder is empty. Right, like So with the oven preheated to 425, you're gonna flip these squashes so they're face down. So, just gonna make everything all nice and nice. And then we're gonna throw her in the oven. So now that the squash and apples are in the oven, we're gonna focus on the things that we need to saute down. So I'm gonna start with these shallots. I'm just gonna julienne these. So you take off the top, the bottom, like so, top, bottom. Remove all the skins. Perfect. Skins. Perfect. Now get rid of all the peels. Now the julienne. So we're just gonna finely slice these right across. The squash and apples are gonna be in the oven for 50 minutes, maybe an hour, until they're soft enough, or the squash is soft enough to just scoop right out of the tough skin. Go, shallots. You could also use just onions, like a regular kind of Spanish onion. You could even throw that in with the squash and apples as well. To roast it, get all those nice caramelized flavors. Oh God, my eyes. Ooh. Gotta open a window. A really good way to make your eyes not hurt when you're cutting up onions or shallots is to stick your head in the fridge and get some of that cold air on your eyes. I don't know why, but it works. Ugh, this is pretty brutal right now. Oh, fucking die.
You're recording?
Yeah.
Why don't you open the window?
Yeah, well. Bam, julienne. Throw these into a bowl. Okay, next step is the ginger. So this is a whole thing of ginger. We're gonna use half. Put that one back in the fridge and peel this one. There's no trick to peeling ginger. You just peel it. I guess one trick is if you leave some skin on, whatever. Not a problem. I was playing some Luigi's Mansion earlier to get in the fall spirit. Killer music in that particular game. Yeah, getting nice and messy here. Fuck. Right. Okay, so that's pretty much peeled. And I'll take out any gross bits when I dice it. First, clean up. I'm putting all my scraps and stuff in a biodegradable compost bag. I don't know, I guess to help the environment, but really, it's so I don't get in trouble for putting food scraps straight in the garbage. Plus, you don't want raccoons digging out your trash in the morning. So now we'll dice the ginger. Do it. Let's see, we'll go straight across like this. Fucking spread her out like a deck of cards, best you can. Then go across and make little ginger French fries. And then fucking again the other way. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get it kind of small for when we saute it with the shallots and garlic. But you know, everything's gonna get blended up anyway, so whatever. All right, perfect. Rock this into a small bowl. Just get it off the cutting board. Next, we're gonna use 1 whole bulb of garlic. I think that's an appropriate amount. Okay, cut off the bottom. Check to make sure your garlic is not rotten. This garlic is fine. Pull off skin from the top. Discard all this shit into your biodegradable compost bag. Then spread her out. And we're gonna go through and smash each piece really quick. 1, 2, smash, smash. All right, those are probably smashed up good enough. So now we'll just peel them. Oh yeah, peeling nice and easy today. Discard. I'm gonna fucking just you know, dice this one up too. Same way. Garlic, really good for your heart, tastes good, smells good, feels good. Don't like using pre-peeled or pre-minced garlic in oil or anything. Just try to always use fresh garlic. Put this in a bowl that's clearly too big, not a problem. Right. Okay, fucking perfect. So we're gonna be sauteing these in just a minute, closer to when the squash and apples are ready. All right. So we're gonna use 2 sprigs of rosemary and, this is sage rather, and 3 sprigs of rosemary. We're gonna use these while we're sauteing all this stuff. So what I like to do is kind of roll it up. I'm not going to take it off the stem only because it's going to be too hard to pick out. So what I'm doing here is just using the back of my knife and doing this, just kind of heating it up a little bit. Starts releasing all the oils and it makes it much more fragrant. So you can do it to both, like this. See. Oh yeah, that smells good. Okay, so we'll keep this aside for now, for when we're gonna do all that. So the squash and the apples have been in the oven for about 35 minutes now, so I'm just gonna pull them out and take a look. Oh yeah, apples are starting to brown nicely. They're very soft. And let's see, the squash is getting there, starting to brown a bit. Ooh, it's definitely soft. Wouldn't recommend sticking your hands straight in the oven unless you've got hands of steel, like me. All right, nicely roasted and out of the oven. Okay, time for some action. So we're going to saute the shallots, garlic, and ginger in some butter. So I've got this unsalted butter because we want to be able to control the amount of salt that we put in. So I'm just going to take a big flat wadge of butter here, pull off all the paper. Got this pot rocking, I don't know, maybe medium, high heat, more medium. Just going to put in the butter See, get it started to melt. Use this wooden spatula. So let that melt for a sec, get nice and hot, and then we're gonna throw in the shallots. Butter's starting to go here. Let's add the shallots. Perfect. Dish in the sink. Let's get these guys coated up in butter. Just gonna cook these kind of slowly. We'll increase the heat a bit. And grab a decent pinch of salt. This. All right. I'm just gonna let these cook down a bit before we add our ginger and garlic. So the shallots are a bit softer, and I've added in the ginger. Just gonna continue to let this cook down. I added a little bit more salt when I added the ginger, because I think it's important to season as you go so that everything is seasoned, instead of adding a whole bunch of salt at the end. The shallots have become more translucent. Ginger is getting there too, so I'm gonna throw in the garlic. So, just a pinch more salt on top of the garlic. Give her a nice stir around like so. It's getting quite fragrant. And we'll add our herbs. Herbs are in the pot. Hopefully these impart some flavor to it. I'm gonna pick them all out at the end. Another way you could do it is when you're simmering your soup, put them in a little bouquet of butcher twine and cheesecloth. However, I do not have butcher twine or cheesecloth, so I'm just gonna let this cook down for a bit more. I've let the squash and apples cool down a bit. As you can see, I already put the apples into the blender. Looks real nice. The cool thing about the squash is we can just scoop it straight out of the skin. Ooh, it's still a bit hot, so careful when you're scooping. But it should be soft enough that when we blend it up with chicken stock and heavy cream, it'll get a nice consistency. Another way to do this is, kind of boil everything up in a pot with your chicken stock, and then use an immersion blender, like a hand blender, but I find that leaves your soup a lot chunkier. Though it is still totally fine. I mean, nothing wrong going for a rustic feel. Just gonna scrape it off, get rid of excess skin, throw this in the blender. All right, these look just about good, so I'm just gonna pluck out our extra herbs. There's still a few pieces in there, whatever, it doesn't matter. Cooking is not an exact science. So again, don't do this unless you have hands of steel. Okay, so now I'm just adding the shallots, garlic, and ginger into the blender as well. Nice and cooked down, just get everything on in there. Okay, perfect. Put this back on the stove. So next what we're gonna add is 2 cups of chicken stock, chicken broth, whatever. Perfect, about a half carton. And a half a cup of heavy cream. This will make it nice and smooth. Third half there, perfect. Okay. Okay, so now everything's in this blender. Let's see. Okay. Power. Start it on 1. Then we'll crank her up a bit. We're just gonna let it blend for a few minutes until it's nice and smooth. Right, so I'm just gonna check the thickness. Just grab a spoon here. Grab a fork. That's all we got. Okay, so it's pretty smooth. Oh yeah, that tastes good. Yep, that's good enough. Right, so we're gonna put this back in the pot. And then start on a low heat. Put this back in the pot. And then we're gonna add nutmeg, cinnamon, maybe a bit more salt and pepper. And then the soup is pretty much done. And then we'll talk about garnishes. Okay. Perfect. All right, so soup's back in the pot. Now, I'm just gonna add 1 little pinch of nutmeg. Maybe just that much. Nah, let's give it 2 of those, eh? 2 little pinches of nutmeg, though nutmeg is pretty strong. Also gonna give it a bit more black pepper. 2 decent pinches of black pepper. As well as little pinch of cinnamon. Got this hot pepper powder. Just gonna put in a fingertips. All right, crank up the heat a bit. We'll give her a stir. We're gonna let this simmer for a bit so that all the flavors get nice and incorporated. Give her a little test. Oh yeah. Now there's your roasted butternut squash soup for sure. Cooking is all about making decisions on the fly. So what I'm gonna do is throw in another big wadge of butter. Yep. Make sure there's no paper on it, as well as maybe 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. 1, 2. And then that should be the very last thing we need to add for this to be an excellent soup. So we're just gonna stir this in, let all the flavors get to know each other a bit. And then we're almost done. Got this really nice loaf of crusty Italian bread, so I guess I'll turn this into toast, maybe with butter, olive oil, and vinegar or something, and just have it on the side of the soup. next time I'm gonna get a rag to put under my cutting board so it's not so incredibly dangerous doing this. All right, so I've cut this bread in half. I'm just gonna lay it out on a cookie sheet again. I'm gonna try to move quickly because I want to use the residual heat from the squash and apples to just warm this bread up a bit. So I'm just gonna drizzle a bit of olive oil on it. This. I'll hit it with a bit of salt. And a little bit of pepper. And I'll throw it back into the oven until the soup has reached a good temperature. Okay, and finally, ready to serve up here. So I'm just gonna grab my ladle. Bring this pot over. Perfect. And scoop it into the bowls. So it seems like one squash is a good portion for 2 people. I mean, this isn't a really expensive meal. It's not really fancy, but it is fun. And you know, the whole smell will kind of warm up your house and just make the vibe of your kitchen a little bit brighter than it was earlier in the day. So I'm really excited for this. Yeah, I might have 1 portion left over for tomorrow. That one's a little messy. Turn it that way. So the garnish, let's see. Find a spoon here. I'm just gonna got some thick sour cream. Just gonna put a bit on one, right in the middle, a bit on the other, right in the middle. Oh, beautiful. There you go. And I also grated up some old cheddar cheese. So, you know what? I'll just put that on top too. Yeah. Bread's out of the oven, nice and warm. Just put it on the plate, all nice. Let's see. It's an appropriate amount of bread for 1 person, I think. Perfect. And there you go. Got your meal. It'd be nice if I had some chives for a bit of green on top, but I don't. So anyway, thanks for watching.